right. So good afternoon, and Kelly, welcome to Faith Conversations, where we explore faith and how faith influences our lives and our work and our service. So I'm Pastor Kofi here at East Stroudsburg United Methodist Church, and I'm thrilled to welcome Kelly Lewis, who's our Borough president, right? Or
Borough manager.
Borough manager.
Great to be here. Thanks so much.
Awesome. So please, let's start a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you've been doing so far in the community.
So I was born and raised in East Stroudsburg, born at East Stroudsburg General Hospital with my twin brother, and I'm a fifth-generation Borough resident and a longtime resident in the county, so been here. My family's been here a long time. Went to J.M. Hill School with a lot of folks and had Mrs. Tucker for kindergarten, and graduated from the high school and played football and baseball, in the sports side, and was our class president. So I'm been pleased to be back at East Stroudsburg, and it's great to be at the Borough, and this will be my last career swan song. So I'm trying to do the best I can to help our hometown be the best that it could be.
Sounds good. So was there any mentor, friend, someone that, helped you to, follow this path to come back here?
Lots of great mentors in my life. And I've really had a lot of lifting along the way from great teachers that I had at East Stroudsburg and sports coaches. My parents and my grandparents were just extraordinary and really helpful. And then in every one of my career paths, from when I worked at Shawnee, I worked for Charlie Kirkwood and learned a lot from him. And then as a lawyer, Ralph Maturgia and John Dunn were my bosses, and I learned so much from them. And in politics, I guess I just always was around a lot of campaigns and saw how I thought it could be. And I really had a lot of support, especially here at East Stroudsburg when I ran for state representative. And I was really honored to serve in the General Assembly and represent my hometown in Harrisburg.
Sounds wonderful. So, since in your own life, how has faith kind of influenced your life and your decision making?
I was just telling this story the other day. I wasn't baptized at birth. And I had never been in a church till the fourth grade, and they were always a mystery to me. I didn't really know what was going on. And when my parents got divorced, we went to Bangor Elementary, and in the fourth grade, at that time in the country, they allowed you to go to church every Wednesday afternoon and have like a faith-based afternoon. And we went across the street to the Bangor Lutheran Church. It was the first time I'd ever been in a church. And as I said in a sermon I gave a couple weeks ago, we learned how to sing Jesus Loves Me. So That was a big thing for me to learn that song, and I kind of took it to heart. And, growing up, we wound up becoming members of the East Stroudsburg Presbyterian Church, and that was my church growing up. Lots of great friendships from there. And now in my adult life, I wound up moving to Delaware Water Gap as a young adult. And I've been a member and on the session of the Church of the Mountain Presbyterian for a long time. And that's a church where we run the Hiker Center. And we always compete against all the churches in the county to be the biggest path donor. Nice. We get the Golden Slipper, whatever it's called, every year.
Yeah. As I was sharing with you, I used to be the pastor of Portland United Methodist Church, and like in the 2000s. And we did some work with your church as well.
And it's great to be here at East Stroudsburg Methodist Church. So many friends of mine, went to this church, and lots of weddings and sad funerals.
Yes.
But it's always been a pillar in the community. Always a great men's group that used to meet every Wednesday. Great group of guys, and so much mission work. You do so much in the borough. And I'm always pleased as the borough manager to do whatever we can to help that mission, and certainly pleased to be here today and talk about it.
Absolutely. And I just want to say that the men's prayer breakfast still goes on like twice a month, and I know Dave Kinhold, who runs it now, will love to have you, one of the Wednesdays.
Yeah, I got to get over.
Yeah, 7:30 sharp, All right, so how would you view your role in local government and as part of your, the larger purpose to serve your community?
So I had some health challenges, and I always was close to helping people. I mean, I think I did that in high school and all that, and it wound up being my career choice to be a lawyer and help people get, solve their complex problems and to buy their first house, etc. And the swan song for me is the opportunity to work with the borough and figure out ways we can help people, because the way it always works at the borough is 97% of the people are always following the rules, making their properties as nice as they can be. It's their big investment of their life. So I'm trying to help facilitate, them, all the ones that are compliant. And then, unfortunately, we got to work with the folks that are defying those rules, those 3%, and work on ways to figure out to get them compliant.
So you must be facing some challenges also in the borough. So what are some of the challenges that you have to deal with, maybe professionally or personally? I know you've mentioned the health challenges. What about some professional challenges?
The biggest challenge, I think, facing everybody is the global inflation that we've had. It's made everything so expensive. And for our seniors and our disabled residents, it's so hard for them to make ends meet. So we're trying to figure out different ways and strategies to help them. And I know I'm working with a group of ESU athletes to try and figure out a way where we can help some of the things get done, like snow shoveling and weeds and all that, and mowing your lawn. I've got a pretty exciting thing coming forward in the next month. I'm putting that together to help out. So we're very sympathetic to the challenge of making ends meet in 2025. I think it's a really hard burden for a lot of people, and we want to help any way we can with that lift. I mean, you see it in the community, and I'm always trying to figure out ways we can make things as easy as possible for people and not make it hard. Sometimes government's so hard to deal with. Yeah. I want their experience from the time they walk into the borough or the time they pick up the phone and call us. I want it to be a good experience. I want them to be treated fairly, just like it was somebody's grandmother. And I think we're getting some good feedback, and that's really, I always, as a person, as a resident, I always didn't like having to call the government and be put on hold or be treated disrespectfully. And I really want them to treat everybody nicely, because that's the first thing. It's usually when you call the government, there's a problem. And we want to help them solve the problem quickly. And I really want to say I've got a great staff. I got 41 employees that really have taken it to heart that this is their opportunity to help people. So we'll keep going in that direction. And we got a great borough council that has been very supportive and understanding of these tough times, because all of our costs at the borough went up. We probably went up 30% on every single thing across the line. So we had a tough tax increase this year to try and get ahead of it. We want to hold the line on taxes as long as we can going forward, and find ways to save money. So we're exploring all options. So that's kind of my thing, is I want to try and make government easy for people and make it affordable.
That's wonderful. We can testify. We've had a couple of projects that we had to rely on the borough for some variances and things like that, and we felt supported. We did an elevator project, which was good, and some additions and stuff. So we appreciate that. But do you think there are some misconceptions that people have about your job and the borough?
Well, one big thing is, like, every road in the borough isn't a borough road. So we just had this great paving project on North Cortlandt Street, from Interborough Bridge out to Wendy's. That's actually a state road. It was a state project. We were very much a part of it, working with the vendor. But, it wasn't really under our control to dictate every single thing along the way. But I will say they were very supportive, and they did a lot of things that went out of their way in so many ways to make it a good project. And most people think it's a great improvement.
I see. So are there like some, aside from the Bible or things like that, is there any book or someone that you take your inspiration from?
I've read a lot of books. I've always liked, in dealing with my staff, it's always been the 5-minute manager. They don't need me to figure out every single solution. I try to give them enough rope where they can solve things on their own. So I don't want to solve every problem, and that's where I think our good staff has really come in the hand. Treat each other the way you want to be treated, and try to spread as much love as you can. I love East Stroudsburg, and I'm not afraid to say it. It's my hometown. I want it to be great for as many people as possible. I want the kids to have a great opportunity going to school here. You may have been following, but I just set up an East Stroudsburg Sports Initiative where we get all the sports for boys and girls all the way to adults. We all need to work together. The fields are finite. The facilities are finite. And the daylight hours and everything's finite. So we need to figure out ways to get everybody to work together and try and put some effort together on grants to improve our fields, get some facilities, and who knows, maybe we can come up with $1 million complex and really shake the tree the right way so that our kids have a great opportunity to play sports together, to participate in sports, and set up that lifetime health,
Awesome. So, I mean, our congregation and people in the community will see this podcast and, view it and have, access to it. So if you had a message or some word of encouragement, what would you say to them?
Well, I'm glad they're members of East Stroudsburg United Methodist Church. I'm glad they have, faith behind them and in front of them. I'd hope all their children follow the same path and try and you figure out a faith-based life for themselves. Mm-hmm. I'm really glad that they participate in so many missions. And that's one thing I see at our church and churches in this community, that set up all these missions, and now it's the next generation to lift them up. The women that started PATH, the Pocono Area Transitional Housing, that was such an amazing initiative. I guess it was 30 years ago where they got together to solve problems. And we do have problems today that I think we need, some faith-based solutions where people get together from the different churches and say, we have a homeless problem. And none of the solutions right now are adequate. But we do have a lot of faith-based help. But we need to figure out the next, for this winter, I want to come into this winter with a much better plan than handing out free tents. So that we are basically saying, go live in the cold out in a tent, for the winter. And it's cold here. Mm-hmm. And I just hope we can figure out some strategies to deal with the homeless in a more humane way and other things like that.
Well, this is wonderful. It's wonderful having you. Tell us one more thing, what you do for fun, what you enjoy doing, stuff like that.
I live up on Pocahontas Lake, and my fun is getting on my pontoon boat and floating around, sometimes throwing a lure in the water and trying to catch a few fish. Spending time with my girlfriend and listening to my kids and how their lives are going. And my kids live in Harrisburg and Madison, Wisconsin, so they're the joy of my life. But and also I really take great joy in advancing things in East Stroudsburg. I've been one of the founders of the Friends of Tara Green's golf course, and we've got that lifted, and we're having a great year there. And I really look forward to putting some time into East Stroudsburg sports. Talk about mentors, but Frank Nicoletti, the founder of ESYA, he was such a mentor in my life, such a supporter of mine, and I really hope I can lift the torch, work with the present generation of all the East Stroudsburg sports and figure out the next things we could do and get some grants, make our Little League field awesome, make our Dansbury fields awesome, make our trails, the Levy Loop, and all those things the best they could be.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kelly Louise, Borough Manager of East Stroudsburg.
Thank you so much. Really enjoy it.
Yeah. So we hope you come again and tell us more what's going on and with some of these projects.
Yeah, and if anyone has any problems at all, if they could just call or email me, I do pick up the phone. I talk to our residents and I try and help solve the problems.
That's wonderful. We can attest to the fact that we've had problems on Mondays for when we're feeding people in the community, like 400 families come. And you have helped us to sort out, the parking situation. So
yeah, anything we can do for sure.
Awesome. Once again, Thank you for coming on the Faith Conversations podcast here at East Stroudsburg United Methodist Church.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.